About a month and a half or so ago, we had a meeting with the local governments and stakeholders for the South Extension Turnpike. That was the city of Noble, the city of Norman, Cleveland County, and Oklahoma University. Being a major stakeholder in the area, having thousands of students and having events that host 100,000 people in a single day, we're invited to this meeting. We talked about interchange locations because the South Extension passes through Noble, through Norman, through Cleveland County. And we talked about, where are intermediate locations. The South Extension Turnpike, its primary function, at least from our perspective, is to carry traffic from I-35 to north and east to I-40, or from I-40 south and west to I-35, ultimately connecting to the Kickapoo Turnpike, which is a direct shot up to I-44, and then a direct shot to Tulsa and the Northeast. Not just Northeast Oklahoma, but the Northeast. And so, that's our primary goal. One of the very first things that we worked on and coordinated with ODOT was to make connections where we cross the state highway system. The Access Oklahoma program is going back through our old turnpikes and adding interchanges at all of the state highway locations where they make sense to provide connectivity, and we're able to do that because we've gone cashless. So following that meeting, we've had several discussions. Yesterday, I received a letter which I distributed to the board in support of some interchanges from the University of Oklahoma President, Joe Harroz, who's here today. Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I'd like to maybe recognize the President to come up and give a few comments.
Yes, sir.
Thanks a lot. It's a little intimidating, I'll be honest. Feels a little better, yeah. He's a two-time Oklahoma State grad, maybe another foot. That's good. Hey, thank you all for the opportunity. We submitted the letter dated yesterday, August 3rd, and to be concise, we want to express the university's support for the proposed interchanges at Tecumseh Road and on Alameda Street. We have 3 campuses, in Norman obviously being the flagship campus, but also in Oklahoma City and in Tulsa. And as we look at this South Extension, I know there's been a lot of debate and a lot of discussion about the Turnpike extension itself. But when it comes to this question of whether or not these exchanges make sense or not, from our perspective, we desperately need them. It's not that it would be good. We think it is absolutely essential. We have been around since before statehood, and our future as the University of Oklahoma, actually our creation, was done 126 years ago. And the city of Norman, as a condition of getting the university, donated 40 acres and had to raise $10,000. And from that day forward, there's been this discussion of how do we plan not just for today, but for the future. Benny Owens, after whom our football field is named after, when he was raising money for the first stadium project that now is over 100 years old, which we're going to be doing $500 million in renovations to here shortly again. When he was raising money initially, he said, you can't stay where you are. You have to either go backwards or go forwards. And as we look at the idea with the South Extension of having these two interchanges at Tecumseh and Alameda, they're absolutely essential. It comes within 1.5 miles to 2 miles of the eastern part of the OU campus. And all you have to do is drive down whenever traffic is against you heading from Oklahoma City south down I-35 to understand the reality of today. But we're also growing at the fastest rate as a university, at the fastest rate since 1974 and 1975. Tomorrow our football players report for their first day of practice. In the next 2 days, the freshman class starts to come in, and they'll start populating the dorms. We are on a trajectory where if we didn't grow any more, and we will, we'll be at 40,000 students this time next fall. And we have major projects that can lead to the prosperity of the people of Norman and well beyond. So having those connections, when we look at it through every lens, my understanding is these two interchanges wouldn't take any more rooftops. And people have said, why don't you just wait until later? We know the cost goes up, and we also know there's an economic toll and a safety toll that exists. So as we look at this through each of the lenses, to not have these two interchanges would inure to the long-term detriment of the city itself and to the individuals that are attempting to travel. As we go through it, the economic opportunity, having these gateways to Norman will absolutely magnify the prosperity of the city. It's not just the 6 or 7 home football games we have each year. We have millions of visitors. Everything from the National Weather Center, the Museum of Natural History, the arts, and obviously all of the athletics. And now a $1.2 billion entertainment district that would be impacted by this. If we want economic prosperity, if we want growth, and the answer, as Benny Owen said, isn't to remain the same, but to go backwards or go forwards, these two interchanges are absolutely not just desired, not just requested, but absolutely necessary for that economic prosperity. And we know that a matter of 15 minutes, 30 minutes, half an hour, sometimes an hour, that is the difference between having these interchanges and not, discourages commerce and discourages the entertainment, athletics, and arts that we have. Access to OU, we know what a benefit it is to be in Norman, but to also be so close to the thriving Oklahoma City area. And to have access and opportunity to that is important, both from the south, coming up from Texas. This was the first year we had a net migration of Texans in versus Oklahomans going out. That is benefited by having these interchanges. That trend can continue. So access matters, travel time matters, and safety. I saw that in addition to the letter that I sent into the commission yesterday, that the chief of police in Norman and the deputy fire marshal indicated something that I think is intuitive, and that is that the health and well-being and safety of our students and of all the citizens of Norman is positively impacted by having the interchanges there. We all sat through these reports of deaths on roadways, and we know that they're a tragic reality. But it doesn't mean we can't mitigate those, decrease those numbers, save those lives, allow access to Norman Regional Hospital and the Norman Regional Healthplex on the west side of Norman. The east side of Norman deserves that sort of access to this area. I can see I'm getting towards the end of my comments by your reactions. I'm passionate about this. It matters to the collective success of our state, of our city of Norman, certainly of the University of Oklahoma, and it matters to the individuals whose health, safety, and welfare are impacted. Thank you for all of the work that you're putting into this. I know that being in public service myself, that there are good days and bad days. I can assure you that these two interchanges, if you see fit to put these into that South Extension, are worth the labor. This is an investment for not just the near term, but the 20, 30, 40, and 50 years that will come. So appreciate the opportunity to address you. I hope the letter that I sent contains all of that, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments?
My only comment would be that we've heard quite a bit of what you said, in private comments. I am so appreciative that you have come here and made these comments publicly and in your letter. So thank you. I personally agree with you. I can't speak for everybody here, but I personally agree with you and think that this is the right thing to do for Oklahoma, for Norman, for OU, and for everybody in Oklahoma, frankly.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. It's most impressive you got a director to wear crimson this morning.
That's why I wanted a couple of steps. It just seems a little out of balance, and I'm grateful, but also, as I've said, safety matters.
Thank you again.